Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Authentically Maskless, where we uncover our true identity without the masks that we adopted along the way. Anyway, so guys, I want to talk to you about something I actually are currently experimenting like a mad scientist. Now, listen. How do you know something is working if you don't put it to taste? So, I mean, come on, guys. If you can't taste the truth, then you know it's not the truth. So, let's do this. Okay, so everyone knows about this time that I love Neville Goddard teachings. He was a wonderful teacher of the mystic, and he has spoken about the Bible and the interpretation of the Bible. Because I'm in the background, because my background has been in a Christian household, religion was very, very profound for me. So his teachings just resonated with me so much more, and I understood exactly what he was talking about. Now, before I knew what is manifestation, or before I knew what about manifestation, I was doing the techniques of the law of attraction and the secret, and then I came across Neville Goddard teachings that made so much more sense to me, and I resonated with it. And the thing that he talked about is SATS. Your imagination creates your reality, and SATS is state akin to sleep. Before you go to bed and you fall into the sleeping state, before you go into sleep, you impress your subconscious mind, you impregnated your subconscious mind with your desire by doing an imaginal act or scene that implying that you already have that experience. Now, you guys, that you all know that I'm not going to gatekeep anything from you. The reason for it is I want you to learn from my mistakes, but also put it into experience and do the techniques or whatever it is, so that you can actually imply it and experience your own journey in whatever you're doing. So there is this guy, his name is Elmer O. Locker Jr., and his granddad was a student of Neville Goddard. He was actually a VIP student, and he talked about the ladder experiment. Now, for the guys that don't know and are not familiar with the ladder experience or experiment, now Neville, he had a VIP group, and the people came there, and Elmer Alocker's granddad, he was one of his students. At first he was not. He went to one of his seminars, and Neville told everyone there that he's not going to pass the bucket, meaning he's not going to preach, and that anyone must give him anything, meaning he mustn't give their tenth to him because he's preaching out of the Bible. But with that, he told everyone there that he wanted to give them a challenge, and he wanted to give them this experiment, and if they have done it and they actually done the experiment and it was realized, then they must come back in the next week or two. Then he will know that they have done what he told them to do, and that they will experience and realize that what he was saying is true. So basically what happened is he told them to go every night and climb a ladder. They must see in their imagination how they climb a ladder. If it's a wooden ladder, a stainless steel ladder, a freaking whatever kind of ladder, whatever it is, they must take their left hand in their imaginal scene, take the reel, their right hand on the other reel, and they must feel how they climb the ladder with their feet. The first step, the second step, and then they must feel how they went up and down, and then they repeat that scene as much as possible for a few minutes without trying to force anything, to believe anything or whatsoever. They just need to do the visual scene as vividly as possible, and they just need to do that in first person, and they must do it night after night. After they have done it, he told them that the next step that he wants them to do is to write on sticky notes and put it on the mirror wherever they are sitting, working, in their purse, in their wallet, whatsoever. I will not climb a ladder. And then they must proceed doing that, and they must mean it, like really, really mean it. They will not climb a ladder, but each and every night they will climb a ladder. So he did that, exactly that, what Neville told, and just be frankly honest, he went out there to prove that Neville was a fraud. Meaning what he was talking about is total fucking bullshit. That this is not how reality creates, or imagination creates reality. And he was so convinced that he is going to show up at Neville's teaching next time to tell him that he's a total fucking fraud. Okay, so anyway, long story short, he did that exactly what Neville told him to do, and guess what? A breach of events unfolded, and his mother called him and asked him to come and see her, and he didn't have a time on his name, so he took the bus or the train, I can't remember exactly which one it was, and he went to his parents' house. And as he went there and everything, his dad asked him to give him something. He was busy on the roof or something like that. And as he climbed the ladder, he almost fainted because he realized what Neville was talking about, actually realized, even though he was very convinced that he's not climbing a ladder. And keep in mind, he had no desire whatsoever to do the ladder thing. He didn't want to climb a ladder because he doesn't need to. He didn't have a desire to do so whatsoever. But he impressed his subconscious mind with an imaginal scene implying that he already climbed a ladder. And the fact that he was doing the sticky note imposing that he will not climb a ladder, it gave him less resistance towards the goal of climbing a ladder, and he ended up climbing the ladder anyway. So guys, from my own experience, and I can tell you my kids have done this as well. I put this to test, and I asked them for 3 days to do their visual scene. And only once a day I told them to sit down on the couch and I asked them to visualize how they climbed a ladder. And it was for about 10 to 15 minutes, not even, because they didn't want to do it because they thought I'm going crazy. But they indulged me and they did it for a few minutes, and that's it for about 3 days. What happened is about a month or 2 after they have done this scene, they accidentally bounced their rubber ball onto the roof, and without really thinking about it, they took the ladder to climb up the roof to see if they can find their rubber ball. My son at that time was only about 8 or 7 years old. He was the first to climb the ladder, and then my daughter, that was almost 10 or 11 years old, she followed him and done the exact same thing. And after they have done it, they came in the house and they told me that they actually climbed the ladder, and they were very shocked because they did exactly that what I told them to do, and they experienced climbing the ladder even though they had no desire to do so, and they just indulged me by doing the imaginal scene. I've done the ladder experiment myself, and I've also experienced that I climbed a ladder even though I did not have any desire to do so. But before I have climbed the ladder, and this was about a few years back, I saw ladders all over where I went. So at my office, there was this random ladder standing around because contractors were busy doing renovations in the building. So there was a lot of ladders standing around, even though I didn't see a ladder for quite a long time. Now, guys, what is so extraordinary about this whole thing, and that I have come to the conclusion, and I've realized before I even knew what is imagination about, or manifestation, before I started my journey, and I've only actually, learned about manifestation and Neville Goddard teachings and all of that. And before I knew about all the techniques that I was doing to get something, I actually did the SATs, imaginal scenes, before I went to bed. And that, remember, I was still new at all of this. So I had an imaginal scene, and I have visioned it so clearly as possible. And I have experienced a lot of them actually started to realize, even though I haven't even had a belief that it will work. Because when I came on this journey, I had no idea even if this is possible, and I didn't believe it. I was just desperate enough to try anything to see if it's going to work, and I couldn't lose anything that I don't have. So I was just open to explore whatever, showed up. And one of the things was the SAT scene, and I've done that exactly. The only thing that I've experienced is because I was not clear of the end, meaning after I've received that what I desire, meaning implying that I've already have that end goal. It was not what I did. I had visual scenes or imagined scenes that implying that I'm going to get there. So that is exactly what happened. So the conclusion what I came across, and that I've realized, when you have impregnated your subconscious mind or impressed your subconscious mind correctly, it is already been realized, and the only thing that your mind or your reality can do is to execute that what you already impressed. It only can become realized. So, in conclusion, it doesn't matter whatever you are affirming or whatever you're opposing. Even if you state that you are not going to receive it, the only thing that your mind can do is to realize the awareness that you are not having it, or you're receiving it, or you're needing it. So it implies that you're going to get more of that. So for example, you have climbed a ladder, so you have already experienced it, even though it's only just in your imagination, but your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So there's no separation. But when you have experienced it in your imaginal act, you have already received it. It's done. It's been realized. It is impressed. So the only thing that still needs to happen is for the execution of it. So even though you say that you don't desire to climb the ladder, you're not climbing the ladder, the only thing that it's doing, it is actually removing that resistance of wanting it and needing it, and that you don't want it because you already have it, you already experience it. So when you are stating the opposite by affirming the opposite, it only can and will be realized in your reality. Now, exactly the same with anything else that you actually experience. Think about it. The more you want, the more you're going to get the want. The more you need, the more you're going to get the need. The more you don't want, the more you're going to get the no, I don't want it. Meaning, if you drive and you don't want a red light, guess what? The more attention you put on it, the more you're going to get a red light. If you put more attention towards the third party with your specific person, guess what? You're going to get more of that, of the third party, because you are aware of it and you impress that on your subconscious mind. But the beautiful thing about this whole thing and the experiment itself, if you have done this correctly, and that is why SATs, and I mean, it's not the technique itself, it's your imagination that creates the impression of your imaginal act, whatever you're using, if it's affirmations or statements or scripting or hearing something. But with intention, you have impressed your subconscious mind. There's no thing or nothing in this world that cannot execute that realization. Because if you've done it correctly without the needing and the wanting and opposing of whatever it's going on, but you go to the end of realizing that it's already done, then the only thing that can happen is for your reality to shift you into that timeline to experience it. Because that is your new reality. You have already experienced it. Remember, your mind is your cause and your reality is the effect. So if you impress your subconscious mind correctly, and SATS is very powerful for that. The reason why I do suggest or would advise doing SATs is, the reason for it is when you impress your subconscious mind before you go to sleep, you take it into your subconscious mind, your awareness, and the guard of your logical mind, your conscious mind that is trying to convince you something different or trying to give you the logistic about it, how it can and cannot come, or all of that, they start to calm down, and then you impress your subconscious mind much easier, and you go with that new desired end that you want to experience into your subconscious mind and in the 4D reality. Now what happens is, while you're sleeping, that is when creation actually get unfolded or created. But also your logic mind cannot have this chatter inner conversation on how it can happen or how it cannot happen. So you have shifted into that new identity of realizing the new end goal or desire that you want to experience. And it's not about belief, it's not about feeling, it is about feeling the naturalness. That is why the experiment of the ladder is so perfect, because it shows you that you actually have no desire to climb a ladder, but you do it with intention by feeling how it feels like to climb a ladder, how it feels on your hands and on your feet, and how you elevate and go down and up and down. There's no emotion, there's no thing that creates that feeling that it's done. The only thing that it feels like, it's natural because you have done it previously, so your mind just do that exactly what you're saying to do. Anyway, to get back, when you have done the imaginal scene and you created that desire as natural as possible with using all of your 5 senses, and meaning not with your eyes or your ears or your hands, that is in the physical, but in your imagination, exactly what you did when you climbed the ladder in your imagination. You've used your senses to do it, and it felt natural. The exact same thing when you think about a strawberry. When you think about the strawberry, and even you haven't have one in your hand, you know exactly how it feels like, how it smells, how it tastes, how it looks, what the color is, what's so freaking ever. Now the exact same thing. You had no desire for a strawberry, but you can imagine it without really effort. Okay, so anyway, so if you do this, you do not need to do anything in your physical reality. So it doesn't make sense to do the affirmations. And don't get me wrong, guys, whatever you use to make you realize or remember who you are, it's not the technique itself that is going to impress your subconscious mind or your identity or whatsoever. But guys, let's be honest, if you impress your subconscious mind once before you went to bed, or when you wake up, when you're calm and relaxed and you have no monkey mind or emotional turmoils or whatsoever freaking ever, and you have done the imaginal scene without effort, trying to convince yourself of something that's outside of you, you're just experiencing as if you already have it, as you don't even try to have it, you just do it for the fucking sake of it. How quickly are you going to shift into that new identity that you are trying to embody for so fucking long? It took me 6 years to actually come to you guys at this moment, telling you it is that fucking simple. Just imagine the end without trying to force it or doing anything. Just having a natural, imaginal scene implying that you have experienced this, what you are desiring. And even if that shows up opposing, and even if you tell yourself you're not going to get it, if you have impressed your imaginal scene into your subconscious mind, there's no thing in this world that can go opposite of that what you want to experience. It is law. It should harden into fact, because that is what it's all about. That is what law of assumption means, the law of attraction means. It must be realized. The fact that you had that desire in the first place is already being a promise, a premise of that experience. You only choose to experience it or not. It is your choice to actually live that reality or not. But the thing is, what we are doing most of the time is when we do the techniques, we do it to get something. And again, if you want to get something because you want something, create that more want. If you need something, you create that more of need. If you don't want to experience that, you create more of that don't want to experience that. Because whatever you are aware and where you are putting your attention with your desire or with your imaginal act, that is exactly what you're going to get. So it does not actually make sense to talk to people about your desire and that what you don't experience with that desire, because the more you talk about that what you don't have, the more you're going to don't have. The more you're talking about that you want, the more you're going to create the more of that want. The more you're going to talk about the need, the more you're going to create the need. It is supposed to be simple. Just go at night, before you go to sleep, close your eyes, take a few breaths, calm your mind, calm your emotions, and do an imaginal scene that implies that what you want and desire is already done. You don't need to have any emotion. You don't need to believe it. You just do exactly that. Feel the naturalness as if you have already experienced it. If you want to be married, feel in your imaginal scene the ring on your finger and how it feels around your finger, and how you flip it around, take it off or take it on. Hear someone congratulate you of your anniversary, or congratulate you. Whatever it is that implies that you have already experienced the end after the end. If you want to have a business, experience how you already are a business owner and you have clients. But the thing is, I'm going to talk to you guys about this, is another thing that I've also experienced and that I want you to avoid doing. And that is to actually discipline your mind.